Yo, what's going on, guys? xBlackHalo here. Today we are going to be talking about the League of Legends patch 9.24 notes. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let me preface this video. By the way, the preface in a book is before the beginning, so think of this as the beginning of the beginning. So I'm sick right now. That's the preface. So these patch notes are by Shio Shoujo. So hello friends, it's the last patch of the year. Okay, so as with most patches following a huge shakedown like preseason, we have a lot of changes and tweaks in this patch after assessing some of the initial data and your general feedback. We've also already adjusted the knobs on some of the new Drakes, monsters, pacing components of the game in 9.23. By the way, if you haven't checked out any gameplay from 9.23, link will be in the card in the top right of this video. In the little eye circle, I have some Kha'Zix gameplay for this patch. So we're including here again in case you missed it, okay? So while this is technically the last patch of the year, you may see an end of year 9.24b balance patch. So a patch with no skins or features based off of how the game is in a couple of weeks. So this happens typically, it happened last year. I covered this patch as well, 9.24b or 8.24b. So there's a separate set of patch notes for that, so keep an eye out. Before we go, make sure to hold on to your poison because everyone's new favorite, Edgy Boy and his sister Aphelios, joins the Rift in 9.24, and they are not kidding. This champion is pretty edgy. I didn't even cover it. So following her Lunary Breathen's release, Diana is also getting an overhaul to her kit, visual effects and sound effects and ability icons to exude more of the moonly glow of her people. Last but not least, Poro King is back for a limited time. Get your snowballs ready for more fun with everyone's favorite Whirl Fluff Ball. We don't cover TFT patch notes on this channel right now, so check the link in the description to check these out. So the mid-patch updates are Yuumi Bugfixes. So this is actually today, Friday the 13th of December 2019. Her W, excuse me, you and me cooldown. Yuumi's W no longer goes on cooldown when Yuumi or her ally attacks a blast plant that knocks Yuumi off her ally. So that's a funny interaction that used to be in the game. So also on her W, the you and me resource bar, Yuumi's secondary resource bar that indicates the duration of her lockout on her W no longer displays incorrectly. Alright, quality of life. Right, there's 2019 trinket changes and bug fixes. So the trinkets, this change already went live with 9.24, but we did not include them in the original patch notes, as some of you may have noticed. Explaining the mechanic and subsequent change below since it could be a little bit confusing. Alright, so this change is called bank account. When you swap trinkets, the new cooldown is based on time since you use any trinket. Any remaining Warden totem ammo is converted into its value and cooldown for these purposes. The bug fixes for this patch are the Prestige Pulsefire Thresh. Pulsefire Thresh Prestige Edition now properly ends his channel animation after teleporting with Hex Flash. And Presence of Mind Mana now properly increases your maximum mana up to 500 or your energy to 50 in ARAM and Poro King. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out the patch highlights for 9.24. Pause the music in the process. Very loud. Okay, so we see Dawnbringer Karma. Very nice skin here. Really nice animations as well. Dawnbreaker Soraka, Nightbringer Aphelios, I think, and Nightbringer Vladimir, and Nightbringer Soraka. All new skins. Also, Nightbringer Released Sin and Nightbringer Released Sin's Prestige Edition. Sugar Rush Braum. May have missed one here. Sugar Rush Evelyn. Hextech Swain. Braum buffs here. Akali Nerf. Oh my god, nice to see. A Ryze Nerf, amazing to see. Garen Nerf, also can't stand behind this even more than I already am. So ignore the featured videos except for Trick 2Gs. I like that. Aphelios, we got this champion released on this patch, Nightbringer Aphelios. You can see all the skins here, right here. So they will be available on the 12th of December, and the Sugar Rush skins will be here in the 17th of this month. So Aphelios, the weapon of the faithful, Aphelios and Alune will find victory in the Whispers of the Moon in 9.24. High-res versions of Aphelios splash arts are available on League displays. Okay, so we are going to... I really could look at this stuff, but honestly, I might just play him. I might just play Aphelios, but I'm not too sure right now. I'm not very interested in this champion. It's very overloaded, and it's a lot to talk about. So, Akali, let's just keep talking about the patch changes. Remove the hitbox behind Akali so her Q only goes forward. Q minion and monster damage decreased. So I guess that she can't throw Qs backwards, which is what I'm interpreting from what they wrote. So this is a pro-facing specific change we're making, since many pro players use this uniquely shaped hitbox to wave clear optimally. So this is what I use, so I guess I'm a pro player according to Riot. I use this to wave clear when I play Akali. So while most other players have a hard time accessing and utilizing it properly. So remove the hitbox behind her. Rank 5 minion and monster damage is nerfed by a whole 8%. So yeah, that's something to take note of. Small nerf to her Q, it looks like, to be honest, unless you really can't cast it backwards. But I don't think that's the case. I'm not too sure what the remove the hitbox behind her means, but you know, we're going to assume that you can't cast your Q behind you anymore, since it says that it only goes forward, the hitbox. So yeah, clarification is appreciated in the comments. Amumu's Q cooldown is decreased early, so it's simple. We don't have to talk about that. Very good buff for Amumu. Braum, base health per level and health regen increased. W cooldown decreased. Cost flatten, resistance ratios to ally, and self flatten. R base damage increased later, knock up now lasts longer. So very big buffs it looks like for Braum to bring him back into the flavor of the meta. Braum is a warden, a tanky champion that excels at protecting their allies. Most wardens are great at dealing with melee enemies. Forgot to turn the music on. So most wardens are great at dealing with melee enemies that try to dive their backline, but bad at dealing with ranged opponents because of their limited range and mobility. However, Braum is an exception to this generalization due to his E, which makes him uniquely good at dealing with ranged threats as well. We don't want to remove the very thing that makes Braum unique, so we're leaning harder into it while lowering his ability to deal with melee champions relative to other wardens. This should then allow us to also buff him in other ways without having him stay as a default safe pick in pro play. So health growth increased by over 10. Health regen increased by 0.5. And also his W stand behind me cooldown is reduced by quite a bit, around 2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds each level. Cost is 40 mana at all ranks for his stand behind me ability. Resistances to allies is slightly nerfed. It looks like it's slightly nerfed. Yes, it is. More flat rates here. These flat rates are unchanged, but the 12% bonus resistance is at all ranks. So resistances to self, this got increased by a lot. Actually, a lot. Wow. So he's a lot tankier. Okay, so his R Glacial Fissure base damage is increased at second and third ranks. The target knockup is 1 to 1.5 seconds at all ranks based on distance from Braum for the first target hitting the fissure. Every other target hit or within close vicinity is knocked up for 0.25 seconds. So yeah, the first target gets knocked up for a lot. All the other ones is the same knockup duration that it used to be. So nice love Riot is showing to Braum here. Diana, this is the change that I'm excited to see. Okay, so all we have to do is read. We already read this, so we can read it again. I keep accidentally clicking. Apologize for that. VFX and FX, you know what I'm trying to say here. SFX updated. Lunar Rush and Moonfall now switch keys. Wow, that's confusing. So for people who have been playing Diana for a bit, I assume. Passive now grants attack speed. So some of you may already know that we've been working on changing up Diana's kit for a while now, and I did already know this. As promised, we've made some changes aimed at helping Diana's pre-6 lane and making both the playing against as and playing against Diana experiences less of a feast or famine. So basically they're making it healthier to play against and play as this champion. By giving her access to Lunar Rush as a basic ability, we're unlocking one of Diana's core mechanics earlier and in the laning phase, allowing her to fight against and interact with enemies before she hits level 6. The change also allows her to effectively gank early as a jungler too, which is a massive increase to her effectiveness in that role. So additionally, Diana's new ultimate now significantly opens her up to more options as the game progresses. So just a quick note, I have been seeing I Will Dominate play, actually I haven't not been seeing it, I've been seeing him start streaming with Diana Jungle in my notifications. So I haven't watched it yet, but I think it's a good pick to pick up. So giving her both teamfight and skirmish capabilities that were previously inaccessible to her. This also adds a lot of variety to how she approaches fights, so her goal is not always to nuke a single person with a full combo. Overall, the goal of these changes was to preserve what people loved about Diana while giving her both the tools and the variety that champions should have. We want Diana players to be comfortable with what they already know, but with a kit that may be more fun and rewarding for new Diana players as well. Alright, so these are the visual effect updates. Ability icons here are brand new ability icons, basically, to bring it up to modern standards. Ability visual effects, so they touched up the visual effects of all of her abilities, including a brand new visual effect for her ultimate and better visuals on her passive. So the ability effects as sound effects, I meant to say, touched up the sound effects of all of her abilities. Nice. Most notably the shield and her dashes, as well as brand new sound effects for her ultimate and passive. So 420 Blaze It mana growth 20 to 25, nice buff here for the base stats, and attack damage extra 4 on top of what she previously had. So a new passive, Moon Silver Blade. What's new about it is Moon Prism Power. So we are going to talk about this. You gain 10 to 40% attack speed, as we just talked about recently, for a passive, just flat. Well, it's not flat. You scale it throughout the game, so that's a lot of attack speed at 18. casting an ability. Okay, so NA, they changed this. This is a strike through. Casting an ability triples the attack speed Diana gains from Moon Silver Blade for 3 seconds. So before, it was casting an ability grants Diana 30 to 90% attack speed based on Moonfall's rank for her next 3 basic attacks. I remember that. But now, casting ability, like I said, triples the attack speed she gains from Moon Silver Blade for 3 seconds. So now Serenity now has been changed. So let's read the strike through first. Every third strike cleaves nearby enemies for 20 to 250, levels 1 to 18, plus 0.8 ability power, additional magic damage, and restores 0.15 ability power and mana. So this is changed. No longer the case or take. You can take it as that. Every third strike cleaves nearby enemies for 20 to 250. Plus 0.4 ability power, additional magic damage. Okay, so a way simpler passive here. I like that it's a lot simpler. You guys can easily understand that compared to what it was before. So her Q, Crescent Strike, costs 5 less mana. Her W, Pale Cascade, cooldown is now 15 at rank 1, 13.5 or 13.5 rank 2, 12 at rank 3, 10.5 at rank 4, and 9 seconds at rank 5 instead of 10 seconds at all ranks. So this is a it's somewhat nerfed. Yes, it's somewhat nerfed from the cooldown wise, but let's keep reading. Also, the total shield looks to be nerfed as well. And also, the ability power for her orbs is also a bit nerfed. Yes, these are pretty much nerfs to her W, so it's a bit of a weaker ability. Be sure to quote me if I'm wrong on this. New shield ratio, I'm pretty sure I'm right though, is 0.1 bonus health. So it's a total of 0.2 bonus health on the shield. So yeah, that is something to consider. They did take some numbers away here. So her E, Lunar Rush, is Diana's old ultimate, and her cooldown on this is reduced by 3 from 25 to 22, and at rank 2 you can see that it's 22. Actually no, this is just all changed altogether. So let's just look at the cooldown here. It's 22, 20, 18, 16, 14 seconds for her dash. So the cost here is also less mana, smaller cooldown, smaller mana, and also smaller damage. And the damage ratio is reduced as well. So her Moonfall is her old E. Her ultimate is called Moonfall, is her old E. So it's kind of confusing the way they're doing this. They move the abilities around. But the cooldown on this is now 100 seconds. Wow. On rank 1. So the cost is now 100 mana. And also the slow is a lot more potent early into late because of the fact that it's more now. 60% at rank 3. So this is new, the Moon Landing. If Diana pulls in one or more enemy champions, the Moonlight crashes down onto her after 1 second, dealing 200, 300, and 400. Holy, that's big. I like this. But it's also strong. It looks very strong on paper to me. Moonlight crashes down onto her after 1 second, dealing 200, 300, and 400 damage, plus 0.6 ability power, magic damage in an area around her, increased by 35, 60, and 85, plus 0.15 ability power. Okay. For each target beyond the first pull. So sorry I interrupted my commentary there. The music started sounding very trippy. So yeah, excuse me for that. Like the video if you're still here. I like the feedback. So yeah, this is pretty simple, honestly. Ability that used to be your OE pulls people in, deals damage with more enemy. It increases for each target. Simply said. So Garen has gotten nerfed. Additional E spins and spin damage decrease. He's one of the biggest winners from the Conqueror changes, climbing well above our acceptable limits. As a result, builds relying on attack speed are dominating his itemization choices, which is very much true. I've noticed this. While we wanted attack speed builds to be viable, we also don't want glass cannon Garen to be the only Garen people build. So we're targeting the specific approach to increase build diversity. So yeah, simple nerfs here. Instead of one spin per 20% attack speed, now it's one spin per 25% attack speed, and the spin damage is changed just a bit. Okay, so we see that this is the same as this. So the strike through is these levels right here. So if you're a Garen player, this is just some slight nerfs in my opinion. However, plus 0 to 6.6 based on your level for the spin damage. So yeah, slight nerfs here for Garen to tune him down. Karma's E base shield is increased. We're buffing Karma in a way that those who build more supportive items on her will appreciate. So her E Inspire is the base shield amount is higher. So almost wow, it's almost 10 ranks every single rank. You know, I mean, it's almost 10 damage or 10 shield points every single rank you level it up. So yeah, it's actually more than that. So the numbers are here on the screen for you to check out. Kassadin Q cooldown now scales. W mana restore decrease later. Kassadin is too strong at the moment, being good at both surviving lane and plowing through team fights. Disgusting champion right here. Gosu would agree with me. I was watching Gosu talk about it, and Gosu's one of my favorite AD carries because of his voice. Cooldown from 9 seconds at all ranks to 11, 10 and a half, 10, 9.5, and 9 seconds. His W Netherblade, and we're talking about his Q null spear, by the way. W Netherblade, a mana restore, is now the same at rank 1, but nerfed by 0.5 at rank 2, and rank 3 is nerfed by 1%, rank 4 is nerfed by 1.5%, and rank 5 is nerfed by 2% of missing mana, quintupled on champions. Okay, Riot, calm down. Quintupled? We are going to go to the next change, but yeah, I think that Riot should definitely calm down here, because I think that he is too strong, but you don't want to make this champion useless. You don't want to make it useless. I think that this is okay, you know. I think they should just Kassadin. That's the whole point of him to be. I think this is, you know, people may not disagree with, or people may not agree, you know. I think this is a good change, honestly, overall, but I think they should calm down here. I think that's enough. Rammus, base health growth increased. E cooldown now scales. So raising Rammus's influence in mid-game team fights and his late-game durability. Okay, so I don't agree with this whatsoever. I think that Rammus does not need a buff, but let's just go on to the next changes. Ryze Q base damage decreased. I love this change. Ryze's early damage and wave clear are too high for a scaling mage. Simply enough, he's the most powerful champion top and mid lane. Picking it just statistically raises your chances to win the game. We're also nerfing his best performing rune, Conqueror, so some might call this the Riot special. But that's true, and he deserved this change based on his phase rush performance as well. Q overload base damage reduced. I like that. I like this nerf, but I still think more is necessary. But his Q was one of his highest dealing abilities that melted me a lot of the time, and it was hard to play against at all. So Senna's recommended items are now updated. Passive miss rates drop less often on minions. Senna kills and no longer drop from champion clones. Q damage and W root duration decreased. R damage ratio increased. Senna is too powerful both as a support and ADC, I agree, but Senna in the latter role is especially strong. We're nerfing her this patch in ways that will affect both roles but should affect her ADC role more. Specifically, we're targeting her safety, poke, and wave clear, and the amount of souls she gets in game. All of these changes should amount to non-overwhelming Senna regardless of what role she's in. So we read this already. Base stats, health growth is nerfed by 10. Passive absolution, the wraith drop chance is significantly reduced. So yeah, more than half of the chance to drop these souls or wraith drops. Basically, removed is poor unfortunate souls. Champion clones no longer drop missed wraiths. Okay. Bugfix is allied bar can no longer kill missed wraiths with his Q. Okay, Q piercing darkness damage reduced. So here are the numbers right here. Simply said, I have a video on Senna, but these are just the updates for her base stats right here. Her base damage is reduced, and the bonus attack damage she gets as she levels and the scaling with her items and whatnot, you know, is reduced. So simply put, is right here in front of you. W last embrace, the root duration is decreased early, which I like, and same rank at rank 5, and the R damage ratio is 0.5 ability power, so this got buffed. A small buff for Sivir 2 AD, base attack damage is increased. Here are the Yuumi changes here. Passive restores mana once again. Q cost increase, damage decrease. Yuumi no longer teleports with her anchor. E now grants attack speed, no longer stocks charges, and costs much more mana. We're encouraging Yuumi to be the enchanter she was meant to be by buffing her supportive capabilities at the cost of damage. And that means summon area is a lot more optimal on her not arcane comet. However, to access all of her power, she'll have to sit on squishier champions instead of being untargetable. Instead of being an untargetable damage source on top of an already unkillable champion like Garen. We're also, oh, by the way, your Yuumi Garen is trash. We're also asking her to sometimes expose herself to real danger by allowing attentive opponents to have actual kill threat on an unattached Yuumi. It's very easy to kill an unattached Yuumi once she is once her host is dead. Very easy. And seriously, we have the data. Yuumi is a really weird case where taking the wrong rune is negatively and drastically causing people to think she is worse than she actually is. Please take Airy instead of Common. I agree. Passive bop and block new. So back to the original gangster me. Now restores 50 to 160 depending on your level. Now restores mana right here. So I did not know that this was a thing. I don't play Yuumi. So her base shield is now buffed as well. Her Q prowling projectile, the cost is increased by 10 at every single rank. mana, 10 mana every single rank. The damage ratio is point 0.5 to now changed from 0.5 ability power to 0.3 ability power. Her empowered damage is now slightly changed. The numbers are here on the screen for you to check out, and the missile duration is 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Alright, so on to her W, You and Me. New is a channel, now has a channel time of a quarter of a second while attaching from an unattached state, or when attaching from an unattached state. Removed Leave Me. Yuumi no longer teleports with her anchor when attached. So now her new surprise electric rat face. What is this ability name? What? Immobilizing Yuumi places this ability on a 5-second cooldown. An updated adaptive force. There's a strike through right here that says Yuumi and her ally grant each other 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13 adaptive force, and a value that is a percentage that doesn't apply to this patch anymore. So, or doesn't apply to the game right now anymore. So, yeah, of their respective adaptive force. So now, these are the numbers, guys. I don't play Yuumi, honestly. I don't plan on playing Yuumi, but she increases her allies' adaptive force by flat rates, scaling with the percentages when she's attached to an ally, and she grants herself the same amount. E, her zoomies. New attack zooms grant 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45% attack speed to herself or the anchored target. And removed passive no longer stocks charges, and removed increased heal no longer increases Yuumi's healing based on the target's missing health. And the heal is now buffed because it does not heal on the target's missing health. I said target, lol. Yeah, target heals too, but yeah, basically you don't want to use target on this, to my knowledge. 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70 plus a tenth of ability power is now changed to 70, 110, 150, 190, and 230 plus a third of ability power. So the cooldown is now significantly reduced by 6 seconds at rank 1. The cost is now 100 mana at rank 1. So yeah, movement speed, these are the numbers, is 15% and is no longer decays over time. And the duration for this is 3 seconds. Alright, so the visual effects updates for Lux. We improved gameplay readability on Lux's abilities while bringing them up to today's standards. Also, more rainbows. So the basic attack cleaned up the missile and impact. Passive illumination is cleaned up. Q light binding added a subtle effect to better show the width of I meant to say of the missile. Sparkle and rainbows. Prismatic barrier cleaned up and added a subtle missile width indicator for when it goes out. Her E lucent singularity completely revamped and cleaned up the charge explosion effects, and her ultimate final spark completely overhauled with indicator lines on both sides to show the actual width of the beam and a line at the end to show the actual range. Her idle effects cleaned up and improved the staff effects when Lux is idle. All skins are now cleaned up and made to match the base kit changes. And Steel Legion Lux cleaned up the lighting effects on Q's missile, E's explosion, and R's beam. I honestly was complaining about me owning this skin for so long and it not getting an update. But now I am happy that this is changed and improved. Nothing on her W, but I do think her W already looks good on this skin. I'm an owner of this skin, guys, so I can vouch for it. So Runes, I bought it with my own money. Rune's Conqueror buff duration decrease, heal for ranged champions decrease. I already checked this change out. So Conqueror is overperforming on Conqueror is overperforming on a number of ranged champions and is slightly too strong in general. We're making it last a shorter period of time, which hits ranged champions more since they're able to take full advantage of the long duration in lane, as well as directly nerfing the healing for ranged champions. So the duration is nerfed by 2 seconds, and the ranged champions healing is now taken down by 7%. So this was the best rune for Ezreal. This was a very good rune for ranged champions, and now they're nerfing it. So I think that this is healthy for the game overall. I like this change, honestly. Let's move on. So the prototype Omnistone, we've adjusted Omnistone to be a little bit smarter at giving you the right keystone at the right time. Below are some guidelines you can count on when taking prototype Omnistone. So now it says this is called warded. So excuse my voice for going out, guys. Please give me about 3 seconds to drink some water. Bear with me. Now it tells you how much damage it has dealt and how many buffs it has granted. Buffs include lethal tempos, attack speed, fleet footwork's haste, press the attacks vulnerable, Conqueror's enrage, hail of blaze attack speed, predator's haste, phase rush's haste, summon Ares shield, aftershocks resistances, or glacial augment slow. I have not used this before yet at the moment, but these are the changes. Let's just keep reading them and check them out in a later time. If you have already checked them out, that's cool, you're ahead of the pack. Predator, more likely to get Predator when not near enemy champions, and less likely to get it when in combat with nearby enemy champions. Oh, this is the old Klepto, by the way. The new Klepto is Omnistone or a Cole. You can start Cole to get gold. Dark Harvest, more likely to get Dark Harvest when near low health enemy champions. Hail of Blaze, more likely to get Hail of Blaze when near low enemy champions and building attack speed or attack damage. Conqueror, more likely to get Conqueror when you and enemies have high health. Increased chance if you're a melee champion. Fleet Footwork, more likely to get Fleet Footwork if you are low health and below level 9. Glacial Augment, more likely to get Glacial Augment if you have a Glacial item off cooldown. Summon Area, more likely to get Summon Area when you have healing or shielding power and are near a low health ally who is in combat. ICYMI, not too sure what this stands for at the moment. Preseason Followup changes. Okay, so we got buffs to Ezreal, like I just mentioned. The Conqueror change and the Klepto removal definitely impacted Ezreal a ton this patch. Or these last two patches. These were all documented as mid-patch updates for 9.23, but we wanted to include them in case you missed them. If you want to check out the patch on the, I don't know why I just got, I don't know why that just happened. I just clicked right here and whatever. Anyways, base health increased by 9, base mana increased by 15, almost 15, 14.4 base mana added. Base mana regen changed. This is the strike through value. They cleaned this up. Hashtag clean code to 8.5 per 5 seconds. And Q, Mystic Shot base damage is increased. So buffs across the board. Prototype Omnistone cooldown, this is the strike through value, is changed for 7 to 3 seconds for melee champions and 11 to 7 seconds for ranged champions. So as you can see, Riot's runes are favored towards melees because of the fact that you can use your autos at our distance when you're a ranged champion. So Death's Dance, a bug fix. Death's Dance passive will no longer infinitely proc Infernal Soul explosions. Wow. good bugfix here. Impactful. A summon area will also no longer infinitely proc from said explosions. So Sanguine Blade, the Blood Pursuit attack speed has been nerfed. Sanguine Blade Caitlyn is OP, but not anymore, I don't think. So yeah, I played with Sanguine Blade on video. If you want to check that out in the card top right in the corner of the video. 40 to 100% attack speed from levels 1 to 18 changed from 20% to 80% attack speed from levels 1 to 18. The total cost is now 100 extra gold. Drake's Ocean Heal, well-deserved nerf here, 5% from 5% to 3%. We got Drake Kill Gold to 25. Change does not include Elder Dragon, so Elder Dragon still gives 100 gold from reading this, 25 gold for the dragon. So we don't have to seriously fight for these anymore between our teammates, you know, like trying to fight who gets the gold. Elder Dragon, execute damage calculation. Elder Dragon's immolation now calculates its 20% health execute threshold with resistance accounted for. Running through these notes. So Rift Herald and early Rift Herald charge damage currently feels underwhelming. Usually less than 2 turret plates worth of damage and not at all worth fighting over. So I have to disagree with this. I do think it feels underwhelming, but that was the nerf because of the fact that there is 2, but I do think that it is worth fighting over. So actually I kind of do agree with this now that I read it a second time, but I think it's it's so much more worth soloing, but I read this very fast, not all that worth fighting over. You know, so yeah, I like Riot's notes, I really do. So usually less than 2 turret plates worth of damage. So we're increasing Rift Herald's early damage, so she's considered more of a high value to get in the early game, but without boosting the second Herald's damage. Okay, so the base damage is 2,000 and the damage per level is from 175 to 125. So yeah, these are the Rift Herald changes. I still think you should just pick it up like you always should and just try and go for it early on. It's more damage to towers now, and the damage per level is reduced a bit. So the turret plate gold is now reduced by 40 instead of 160. Gotta get those plates, guys. Ongoing meme on the Black Halo channel. Bonus resistances, it needs to be an ongoing meme. We're working on it. Bonus resistances per missing plate, 30 to 40. So yeah, I love my community, by the way, just from thinking about it. But yeah, this is the turret changes. Bonus resistances per missing plate is increased. So elemental rift appearance, the tint adjustment reduced the intensity of the map wide tint for Infernal and Ocean Rift's ground and Fog of War. Infernal Rift more clearly defined the terrain, improved gameplay clarity, and polished the texture of the map. Mountain Rift is more clearly defined on the terrain, improved gameplay clarity, and polished the texture of the map. The alcoves are improved gameplay clarity and polished textures. So I think that these are just, you know, some gameplay visual updates right here. So the return of the Poro King. Alright, so quick, I'm not going to really read too much of this, honestly. It's coming back. You guys know what it is. Actually, I'll read it. Why not? Hold on to your biscuits. We're bringing back the regal and time-honored Poro King from his vacation on the shores of the fabled Ursine lands and returning him to the Howling Abyss, where he'll help you earn glorious victory. Have fun with the giant furball until January 13th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. A quick TLDR, which is too long, didn't read, which I didn't want to read it because it's too long. On one of our most dashing game modes, summon the almighty Poro King with the help of your teammates by fighting Poro snowball style until you've hit 10 targets. Once you do, the king will help push enemy towers, periodically heal you, and allow you to return to his side at any time. We've also got some quality of life changes and updates from the last time the Poro King arose from his slumber. Poro Snacks, new Nightbringer and Dawnbringer Poro Snacks are now available and will power up the King in different ways. Random pick, Poro King now uses the same random champion select process as ARAM. Progress Tracker, not me, not a trapper. Progress Tracker, featuring a new UI to track your progress toward Summon King. Birds of a Feather. All ARAM specific champion, item, and rune changes also apply to Poro King. Okay, so ARAM balance changes. As mentioned above, every change that is applied to ARAM, be it a champion, item, or rune change, will also apply to Poro King. Okay, so let's look into starting some new music. Okay, so the 9.24 balance changes for ARAM. So yeah, I don't play ARAM, guys. So now do I want to read this? No. So these will be in the description if you want to check them out, and it's just different buffs. These are buffs for Karthus, Kale, Kennen, Olaf, Pyke, Renekton, Sion, and Zyra, and these are the rates. So I want to also figure out, like, I don't know, I don't even understand like what they mean by minus 5% damage taken. I know that champions are different on this map, but I'm not well informed about it. So 9.24 nerfs are Camille, Jace, Jhin, Kassadin, Kha'Zix, Leona for ARAM, Nautilus, Nocturne, Kiana, Ryze, Udyr. Why they nerfing Udyr and Yorick and Zac? So the runes, yeah, 10% mana restore, increase mana, max mana by 50 per kill, increase max energy by 5 per kill. Maximum mana and energy remains at 550 respectively. I'm a beast at ARAM, by the way, guys. Last time I played ARAM, I played Caitlyn and I popped off. So I'm good at ARAM. I like the game mode and all. I just don't play it or care to really keep up with it as much as Summoner's Rift. We're trying to keep it to Summoner's Rift. So super minions no longer have extra movement speed as well. So yeah, duplicate username changes. Also, I can cover this very quickly. Basically, in-game names are being merged over the Riot accounts. I wanted to make a separate video about this at one point, but yeah, I have not gotten this changed yet except for my PB account. But pretty much we're starting the transition from League of Legends accounts to Riot accounts that'll cover League and future Riot games. More on the support page here. Okay, so this is a link. All usernames, not summoner names, will have to be unique regardless of the server. This rule applies to new accounts too. We know that these sort of changes are never fun, but they are necessary to help update and improve Riot's account system to support new games. I like this. If your account shares a username with an account in another region, including PB, you should have already received a heads up email. There are still some being sent out, so keep an eye out. Starting soon, you'll see a dismissible pop-up when you log in, letting you know you need to pick a new username. Early next year, the pop-up will no longer be dismissible. When that happens, you'll have to change your username before you can play League. Here are a few tips. What happens if your account doesn't have a unique username when we fully move to Riot accounts in February? You won't be able to log into the client at all and will need to go through the website if you want to log in. I copy myself. This is let's read this. If your username is listed multiple times in the list of accounts we email you, change the usernames of all of your accounts except the one that you want to keep your username on. Then try logging into that account. If you don't see the pop-up, congrats, the name is yours. If you still see a pop-up, a player in a different region shares your username and you'll be needed to pick a new one before the pop-up becomes permanent in January. So people will copy you. If your username is the only listed one on the list of accounts we email you, that means a player in a different region shares your username. You'll need to pick a new one before the pop-up becomes permanent. Okay, so Bugfixes, only True Damage Echo and his allies can see his moonwalk animation. That used to be a bug. Okay, so I always read the first bug fix and that's it. But let's read this one. Elder's Dragon Soul empowered champions can no longer execute champions with passives that make them untargetable, like Zack's passive, Cell Division, and Nivea's passive Rebirth, or yeah. Or I'm trying to think of another one. Or Kog'Maw. No, wait. No, that's not one. But yeah, you guys get the point here. I hope you do. But yeah, let's just go ahead and keep moving on. Nothing really looks too bad from skimming through it. Except for, well, Teemo's E Toxic Shot now properly proc his Dark Harvest. That's a big one. There's now does not heal from Q Decimate when hitting spell shielded enemies with his axis handle. Yeah, there's a few more, like champions with Presence of Mind now probably get the amount of mana and energy as stated in this tooltip. Pets now attack properly the aspect of the dragon from Elder Dragon, like Zyra's Plant, Shaco Boxes, Heimerdinger Turrets, killing. I read these all out of order. When ordering champions in champ select by favorites, favorite champions will now properly be at the top. I like that. Okay, so the skins and chromas. The following skins will be released this patch. Grab the League Displays app for a full red splash art. So we already checked these skins out in the 9.24 spotlight. They all look very colorful and I like these skins. They look really good. They look so good that I had to scroll right back up and look at them again. They look really kind of I don't want to say like cartoonish, but they kind of are, like with the colors and with like Nidalee's spear. But it's the game, guys. If you love these skins, go ahead and purchase them. They are up for debate. Let's look at the first comment. When are the frame drop issues going to be addressed? It has been an issue since Senna was released. Okay. So yeah, people are thanking people for bringing this up. And here's something on the Riot accounts, some comments. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to check me out in the next patch video. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my socials. I got a Twitter page right here. I tweet out all of my videos. I got my Twitch channel. I got recent videos here. Like I got a nice highlight right here. That's really cool. My channel. I appreciate you guys' support on YouTube. Like we got a really nice highlight right here. Like it's a lot of stuff that's cool that goes down. You know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
If you were not as healthy, he would, right? Yeah.
Boom.
Oh my god.
Great gank. Peace.